Hi, and welcome to Coffee Breaks with Steele International, your source for branding, marketing, and entrepreneurship. This is coffee break number 19, and it centers around a dilemma that so many entrepreneurs come up against. And it is when you are embarking on a new project, whether to hire an expert to help you or to DIY it. And what I've found is so many entrepreneurs, because many of us have tight budgets or some people have no budgets at all, they decide to go the DIY route and become perpetual DIYers and end up wasting a lot of valuable time when they could potentially be making money. And so I created this coffee break to help you decide whether you should go ahead and hire that expert or whether it's worth it to DIY. So in order to determine whether you should hire an expert or DIY, I want you to ask yourself a series of 3 questions. The first being, is this endeavor going to increase my bottom line? This seems like such an obvious question, but I find that in working with other entrepreneurs, people get this shiny object syndrome, right? Where they think something is going to be really cool and they end up spending a lot of time and energy and sometimes money on it. So do yourself a favor, create a little pros and cons list and figure out whether this project is actually going to increase your bottom line and move your business forward. Sometimes the absolute best thing that you can do is invest in your business, but you want to invest wisely, and creating that pros and cons list is so important. The second question I want you to ask yourself when you're trying to determine whether to hire an expert or DIY is, will this require a brand new skill set? And if so, how much time is acquiring this skill set going to require? Because saving money is always attractive, right? We all want to save money. We all want to be responsible with our money. But if learning this new skill set is going to require tons of time, is that going to be a good investment and return on investment of your time? So ask yourself that question. Is this new skill worth the time it takes to learn it? So I want to give you a for instance here. I've been asked multiple times by multiple people whether or not they should purchase Photoshop and learn how to use it. And here is my answer. Photoshop is an incredibly useful tool if you are going to use it on a regular basis, because it requires a significant chunk of change up front to purchase it, and then it requires a lot of time to learn the program. So if you're not going to use it on a weekly basis, it's just not a good investment for you. And this rings true in so many other areas. Is this skill set going to be something you use all the time, or is it just something that you think would be cool to have in your back pocket? If it's the latter, do yourself a favor and hire it out. You will save so much time and headache. Okay, the third and final question I want you to ask yourself when trying to determine whether to hire an expert or DIY is my hourly rate more or less than what I would be paying this expert? Because if it's more, then hiring the expert is pretty much a no-brainer. If your hourly rate is higher than the experts and you still choose to DIY, you will end up losing money in this scenario because that valuable time could have been spent doing client work or making sales. Okay, so in sum, when you find yourself in the dilemma that so many entrepreneurs do, whether to hire an expert or DIY it, I want you to ask yourself these 3 questions. Number 1, just to wrap up, is this endeavor going to increase my bottom line? This question is vital, and it's one that often is overlooked. So ask yourself that question, do yourself that favor. Number 2, is this going to require a brand new skill set? And if so, how much time is that going to require? Because time is money. And then number 3, is my hourly rate more or less than what it would cost to hire this expert? I hope these 3 questions will help you figure out and overcome this dilemma. I hope you have an awesome week. And I want to say, cheers to growth and here's to the grind, my friends. Bye.
So in sum, when you come up against Against? 2, is this new skill set... That's not what I wanted to ask.